Welcome to our farm. This is us, Katie and Kent, first-generation farmers. These are our dogs, Maggie and Huck. Most importantly, Huck, who our farm is named after, Huckleberry Farmstead. We started farming in a 1/4 acre lot in Broad Ripple. We started with raised beds. We converted our backyard into a Garden of Eden style farm. We fenced it in with the pallet fence and we started growing. And it was beautiful. And we were actually really successful at growing a lot of our own food. And we found so much beauty and so much joy in what we were doing. We decided that's what we wanted to do. So in 2018, we bought a 5-acre property. And slowly we started making it our own home. We planted flowers. We did some landscaping, and then we turned our attention to the back pasture. There was so much potential with what we wanted to do with this back pasture. We couldn't wait to get started. We recruited some friends and family because we knew we wanted to start with fruit trees and perennials that would take a long time to get established. Our friends and family were great. And our efforts paid off. The following year, the fruit trees took off. We planted an asparagus patch. 250 asparagus to be exact. They're doing very well. We tried other things. We planted squash in our front yard just to see how it would do. We made a compost system out of pallets. Started a berry patch with blackberries and raspberries and blueberries. It's not very big, but we saw things producing and we loved it. We had a lot of issues with wind, and so we put in about 300 pine trees around our perimeter. We also discovered that we have mice, so we got barn cats. Then we got pigs. We want to use them in the way that nature intended for them to be used. We are disturbing the soil in a natural way, and we're fertilizing the soil in a natural way. We also met some other creatures on our farm, like our hornworms that are everywhere. We met some wild rabbits. They didn't stick around long because, well, Maggie. We put 14 tomato plants in our first year with very little watering systems or attendance. And they actually did really, really well. We harvested so many tomatoes our first year, and then we had to can them. My husband looks great canning, doesn't he? We then proceeded to get chickens. We really wanted to utilize animals on the farmstead. We're so intrigued by this idea of mimicking nature and mimicking nature's processes as a way to create healthy soil. We don't have to work against nature in order to farm. We can work with nature to be better farmers. One way that we really utilized our animals' potential to improve our soil was to pasture our chickens. we created a Justin Rhodes style chickshaw in order to do this. It turned out great, the chickens loved it, it's serving its purpose. We wanted to avoid disrupting the soil as much as possible, so to kill off weeds and prepare new beds, we started using silage tarps. A lot of that first year was figuring out how to make do with what we had. We had just purchased a new house, so we didn't have a bunch of free income. We had to start all of our seeds in a spare bedroom. We had to turn our old well shed at the back of the property into a wash pack station using scrap materials we had on hand. But what we learned, and what we still use today, is the mentality of using what you have. You don't have to buy new. You can make do with what you have, and you can learn new skills to meet your needs. Year 2 was a trial year where we trialed raised beds. We had some help, and we involved people as much as possible. It turned out pretty well, and we're going to mimic most of what we learned that year. We did have to tweak the irrigation, and weeds did get out of control. But overall, we were able to produce quite a bit of our own food as well as sell to friends and family. We put together an on-site self-serve produce stand for friends and neighbors to stop by. It made absolutely no money, but it was fun setting it up and it was a good experience anyway. We free-ranged our chickens since we had the mobile chicken coop, and we used some permaculture principles and fed all of the Japanese beetles to them. Our eggs were delicious that first year, and still are. That first year was so fun. There were so many things we saw. We got to watch our plants just explode with growth. Our persimmons trees doubled in growth between year 1 and year 2. We're very fortunate to have such a good-sized piece of property for the type of farming that we're looking at doing. So on part of our property, we are doing a Garden of Eden style food forest. We'll go more into detail about that in another video. We will have an area that will go into food production in 2021, and we'll be using a different method to get that soil where we need it to be. One of the greatest things is being able to share our passion that we've discovered with the people that we love. Having friends and family come out and find a passion in the work that we're doing, to be able to connect with the world around them, not just live in it, but actually be a part of it and see how nature works and be in nature is one of the most rewarding things that we have taken from this journey so far. And don't let me fool you into believing that it's all lovely all the time. It can be challenging, it can be physically demanding, but in the best way, in the way that says it's cold out but you can still work, in the way that says you might not know what you're doing but you can learn, and you'll be okay, and they'll be okay, and you're going to grow from it. This has been such an extraordinary experience for us, and all of the things that we've seen and done in 3 years has only inspired us to continue doing this work, to continue learning about how the world around us works, to continue falling in love with every part of this farming life that we're choosing. This place is our home, and we want to share it with you. So I hope you'll continue watching our videos and following along on our journey.